starts now.
We can no longer kick the can down the road, as the saying goes. We need to sit and fix the problem.
Staffing shortages, outdated communication, even January's deadly mid-air collision involving a Charlotte flight crew, all shining a light on air traffic control in America. Thanks for staying with us at 7:30. January 29th became a turning point for how the U.S. and the world look at air traffic control and aviation. American Airlines Regional Flight 5342 was preparing to land at Reagan National Airport when it collided with a military Black Hawk helicopter. This sent both aircraft into the Potomac River, killing all 67 people involved. Among the victims, the 4 Charlotte-based crew members operating Flight 5342, First Officer Sam Lilly, Captain Jonathan Campos, flight attendants Denasia Elder and N. Epstein.
Something was missed at the DCA crash. I take that seriously. I take that upon myself.
The acting FAA administrator admitted during his testimony on Capitol Hill this past March the agency should have seen the danger years before the mid-air collision. A National Investigates team discovered hundreds of incidents and accidents linked to air traffic control data over the last 15 years. Josie Stearman is digging into those reports as leaders at the highest levels work damage control.
Runway 28 right, taxi via Alpha.
When you're playing traffic cop for airplanes across the nation,
United 827 Academy Ground Information, Juliet, current advisor, we have it.
people like Matthew Schofield know you leave very little up in the air.
When I plugged in, I was the alpha male. I told planes where to go.
He spent decades as an air traffic controller. Now he's at Nashua Community College, where a team is gearing up to teach the next generation of controllers, using a simulator to train for any future scenario they could experience.
So God forbid this does happen in real life. Again, you got that tool in your box. Hopefully you use it.
It's a critical lesson at a time when mistakes and problems in the real world have put aviation safety under an intense microscope. That scrutiny started in January with the deadly crash that killed 67 people at Washington, D.C.'s Reagan National. The tragedy shining a harsh spotlight on air traffic controller shortages. And in the months since, a series of outages in major towers across the nation, including a 90-second blackout in Newark, are once again drawing attention to the system's dated technology.
We can no longer kick the can down the road, as the saying goes. We need to sit and fix the problem.
They're issues John Golia knows from years as a member of the National Transportation Safety Board investigating aviation crashes. Now he's seeing them again, looking at the findings of our national investigation, which examined NTSB reports and data dating back to 2010.
Time to deal with it.
In that time frame, our team found the agency investigated at least 135 accidents or incidents where air traffic control was listed as a cause or contributing factor. Those include close calls as well as mid-air or runway collisions, at least 40 where people were killed.
But there's negligence on the part of many of our so-called leaders that have seen these problems and not addressed them.
Problems that have also been highlighted again and again in stunning reports to the Aviation Safety Reporting System, which allows pilots and air traffic controllers to confidentially log safety incidents with the government. In the last 15 years, our team found more than 18,000 reports involving air traffic control.
And that's just an indication of A, the system is overloaded.
Pushed to its limits, with pilots reporting being forgotten by air traffic control in busy traffic as they headed straight toward a mountain, and a plane forced to go around seconds before landing after hearing another flight cleared for takeoff, with the tower asking, "I forget, did I clear you to land?" Controllers have also logged thousands of reports about incidents related to workload and faulty technology, including a controller blaming a total lack of radar in complicated airspace near Seattle for nearly causing a mid-air crash, writing, "We're going to watch a lot of people die one day, and I hope I am not working when it happens."
I felt their pain.
They feel the weight of the world on their shoulders.
Of course they do. Of course they do.
The Department of Transportation and Congress are also feeling the pressure on damage control to fix the system and reassure the public.
I do want to stress, our airways are safe.
Representative Sam Graves is trying to make them even safer, shepherding a plan through Congress that would pour billions into new radar, telecommunications, and guidance systems in towers across the country. Still, the work could take years.
You can't just shut the system down, overhaul it, and then turn it back on again. We have to continue to operate.
That was Josie Stearman reporting. Now, the industry group representing air traffic controllers says it supports Secretary Duffy's plan, but says without proper staffing, the overhaul won't reach its full potential. The Department of Transportation is offering more incentives for people to become air traffic controllers, but it isn't easy. The FAA lists the qualifications needed to become an air traffic controller. They include being a U.S. citizen under the age of 31, pass a medical examination, and the FAA air traffic pre-employment test. But the website notes less than 10% of all applicants meet those requirements and are accepted into the training program.